Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Day number 276 in our daily updates on the war in Ukraine. 9 o'clock Eastern Standard, as always, 4 a.m. in Ukraine. And yes, we do have our partner tonight in here. I'll get him in just a second. He's being delayed a little bit. His son is pretty ill. And for those of you that understand Fahrenheit, 104 was his temperature today. It's down now, but his son's name is Mark. He's pretty ill, so you guys remember him in prayer. Looking a little better. He's got to have a few more tests tomorrow. But Zhenya's healthy and all is well. He'll be here in just a second. Today could very well be a game-changer day in this war in Ukraine for a reason that you may not expect. It's not going to be about arms. It's not going to be about missiles. But it's going to be about a political action that took place up north of Ukraine, and we will get to that toward the end of the program. So, as always, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting, telling your neighbors. Thank you for giving. Thank you for everything that you do. It is deeply, deeply appreciated, and that's what makes this a great community. Make sure you're commenting and chatting and enjoying yourself the best you can when we're updating about a war. But we've built friendships in here, and we've built a community, and you are valued. So with that said, let me roll the man in here and say good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Good evening.
Tough day with your son.
Thank you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everything is stable. It's okay.
Everything is stable.
And he is getting better.
He is getting better. That's good. And we want Mark to be healthy. He's my buddy. So anyway, thank you for being here, and hope you have the window closed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, his son got pretty ill, and he even had to open the window in the house. So there you go. But we're good to go now, so thank you. All right, well, let's jump to it tonight. We're going to start down in Kherson. Good news out of Kherson today, and that is the power grid was finally reconnected. That does not mean that everybody has power, but the grid, the switch has been flipped. So we're thankful for that. In fact, I've got the video right here. Check this out.
Включила и отпускайте.
Разумею. Все, отпускайте.
Все. Напряжение есть, загудел трансформатор.
So there you have it. Quick little clip there. Kherson, they flipped it back on. Good news.
Yeah, a lot of work was done to do it. 7 days of under the shelling, Russian attacks, and non-stop working for restoring. And it's already the citizen in Kherson got recommendation to not to be in a hurry to plug all the home supplies and so on. But the main important, they have lights, and it's coming more and more the central heating systems and the hospitals, all of that, it's coming to normal life.
And I think what's important for people to understand is they've basically had to rebuild the complete infrastructure to get power going in Kherson because it was destroyed by the terrorists. And these guys, the electrical company guys, are heroes because many of them are working outside, of course, very cold conditions. And secondly, they're working under shelling. So very dangerous what they're doing to take care of their citizens there in Kherson. So we're very thankful for that. Now, with that said, Kherson, here's an update from down there. We got one coffee shop going. That's big. That is big news. I know people may say, what do you mean one coffee shop going, folks? You don't understand what it was like under the occupation of Russia. It was not normal life. It was destroyed. And I'm very excited here. Check this out.
Это кофейня посреди громыхающего Херсона, как машина времени, как двери в параллельный мир.
Еще закрытка была сделана до военных времен.
До военных времен?
Да, это Бразилия чистая. Это тяжело найти, это арабика, это тяжело такой кофе сейчас найти.
Сейчас единственный бариста в городе. Кофейня работает от генератора. Один уже сожгли, купили новый, помощнее.
Это не то, что приятно, это феерично. Но это что увидеть космический объект.
После деоккупации Херсон остался фактически без благ цивилизации. Все это уничтожила, говорят, российская армия во время ухода из города.
4 градуса в хате, вы что? Я сегодня в перчатках вставала в туалет сходить. Одівала, тому що сустави викручують уже. На безпосередній лінії зіткнення зараз тут дуже складна гуманітарна ситуація, саме через те, що російські окупанти зруйнували все, що могли зруйнувати. Ну і не враховуючи того, що це зараз зона бойових дій, тут знаходитися просто небезпечно. Тому комендатура оборони міста Херсона рекомендує вам все ж таки за можливості, за нагоди.
So, two pieces of information there that are good. Number one, it really was the only barista working in town. And the journalist, which is Ukrainian out of there, was telling everybody everything has been destroyed. Military guy saying everything's being destroyed. The one lady there interviewed, 4 degrees, about 40 degrees Fahrenheit in her home. She's wearing gloves to go to the restroom. That's the reality of Kherson. So when you see one coffee shop working or power being reconnected, this is a great day for Kherson. I saw you smiling on the other feed during that video. It made you happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And this man, he's right. He says from the things they experience, to see the coffee shop working like that, coffee cafe, it's like, he says, like we're coming here to look like you know, like cosmos or whatever, like, I mean, something, some rockets, some, I mean, incredible equipment to see it's working, and people non-stop. It's a sign of civilization is coming back, sign that the people will get something, I mean, tasty, which it will remind them normal life, and it will be a sign of we have hope. Soon everything will be better.
And you know, and for everyone watching, hopefully it gives a little clarity to the situation. Number one, Kherson is a very large city, and it's a regional, it's a capital city for that region. It's the key city in that region, and literally destroyed. Everybody was, of course, happy when Russia left, and we are too, but we knew that the destruction was there and it would still take time. So these are good things that are happening. Now, with that said, I think another thing that people do not understand, I had a comment on the chat last night, or not on the chat last night. It came in during the middle of the night on the video, and a guy commented, you know, I don't think he really understood about the S-300s, and the S-300 missiles, which Russia has in a large quantity, innumerable, basically, is what the defense minister of Ukraine said. You know, these S-300s are fired randomly. These are not the large cruise missiles that make the big news when the calibers are flying through the air or the hypersonics. S-300s, Russia is randomly firing S-300s at cities like Dnipro and Kryvyi Rih and Mykolaiv and Kherson and all these frontline cities. S-300s fly basically daily, and you won't get the big news alert where 100 missiles were launched and 37 hit and infrastructure is destroyed. S-300s are flying every day. And today, a couple of places they were flying. They have been flying in Dnipro. In fact, let's see here. I've got it right here. This is some of the damage from Dnipro. This is S-300 damage. So please, you get the story on Kherson that we started with, and now please be aware, every day S-300s fly. In fact, Jania, you sent me this image right here, right before we hooked up tonight. This is actually Chasiv Yar. S-300s destroying Chasiv Yar, buildings and residences here, volunteers and military getting a guy out. And you know, that's not a town we call quite often. Let me show it on the map, and then we'll get you to address this right here. This is basically the red line, the front line over in Donetsk region. I'll switch just for reference. There's Kryvyi Rih, there's Zaporizhia, there's Dnipro, Mykolaiv, Kherson, Melitopol, Mariupol, Donetsk, Now, this is Kramatorsk, where we do all of our work. And if you zoom in here below Kramatorsk, you get Konstantinivka and then Chasiv Yar. This, of course, is Bakhmut. So this is the area where those images were I was just showing that you just sent to me. This is Chasiv Yar. So I think the main thing that we need to communicate for people to understand is the S-300s fly basically daily.
Yeah, originally this missile is like a rocket, was designed to fight against of like airplanes or the other missiles. But Russia, which they're using their creativity and looking for the ways to kill people. This is why they redesigned it. So they're putting a special like a logic board in it, and they using it not just like a ground to air, which Ukraine has. And the S-300 Ukraine has only possible to use as the ground to air, to shut down the flying objects like missiles or rockets. But if it doesn't targeting, it explodes in the air and it doesn't go, with all of this power on the ground. Russia did specially, they redesigned it. They're putting a special logic board there. And reprogrammed it. So they're using like the ground to ground. And it's quite a long range of the distance, and they have it thousands and thousands. And yes, this missile as well is quite accurate. And you may check it and Google it. And reality is they destroying and killing people, just as civilian houses, private houses, like block houses.
Yeah, and
yes.
What was? Let me see here. Let's go with this. So, just so you guys understand, when we talk about an unlimited supply, this is what fires the S-300. These are big rockets here. This is in Moscow on a parade. These are big rockets, but the supply is so much, they're using them daily against these cities, and they are reprogrammed to be ground to ground. This is why we're confident in sticking with the story that Zelensky and the Ukrainian military says about the strike in Poland. Russia programmed them ground to ground. Ukrainians will blow up in the air. They're ground to air. They will not blow up on the ground. And we know that was a ground strike. That's a week-old story, but we're sticking with what we believe to be the truth. Now, let's move on. Something we haven't updated lately, but I want to update us tonight on day 276 on Mariupol. That is still the drama theater. It was just yesterday that, and it's not repaired, by the way, folks, but it was just yesterday that a Russian pop star was on that balcony right there that you're looking at, making a music video. It went big news. She's up there strumming her guitar, singing in Russian, right on the place where hundreds of Ukrainians were killed when that drama theater was struck. Now, I call this Mariupol the Chechen playground because it seems that this city, yes, completely under Russian control, is a place where the Chechens, the Kadarites, try to make their stories and how good we are and we're helping people. And I got this piece off of their news. Got it. I have it translated. Let me show you this, and then we'll get your comments on Mariupol.
Чеченский народ радует то, что начало освобождения Донбасса от нацизма, от фашизма, основную ношу, борьбу с этим фашизмом, освобождение города благодаря нашим бойцам. До сих пор вот даже при въезде есть наш государственный флаг, флаг Чеченской Республики. Мы приехали с гуманитарной помощью регионального общественного фонда, с собой привезли 50 тонн помощи, все необходимое. Рамзан Ахматович всегда нам говорит, мы должны помочь жителям Донбасса. Просьба Рамзана Ахматовича сейчас и увековечить память погибших наших бойцов.
Обязательно надо пофамильно.
Да.
Это и наша боль. Они погибли, освобождая нас от нацистов. Я точно понимаю, что вы пережили то же, что пережил Мариуполь.
Я думаю, что больше нас, жителей Чеченской республики,
Да.
жителей Донбасса, никто не понимает.
Да.
Но вы заметите, и в этом году, и в последние годы Чеченская республика в рейтингу России самый безопасный регион.
Да, я еще раз хочу поблагодарить вас. Это очень важно сейчас поддержать нас.
По поручению главы Чеченской республики Рамзана Ахматовича мы привезли гуманитарный груз 10 тонн муки, 10 тонн сахара, 10 тонн гречки, 10 тонн подсолнечного масла.
Данная поддержка является очень весомой, поэтому хотим поблагодарить главу Чеченской республики за эту поддержку, которая неоднократно уже нам оказывалась.
So that's what I'm calling the Chechen playground. So people, we do not forget about Mariupol. It was the main story and the Azovstal that we followed for the first few months of this war. And now you can see, they said even our flag is flying at the entrance of the city. They talk about that great amount of aid that they're bringing in, 10 tons of this and 10 tons of that. Folks, I got news for you. Over our time, we've probably, you and us and all of this great community, we've delivered that much humanitarian aid, and it wouldn't be far from it. We've had times where we're loaded down with tons and multiple runs. So our little organization has given probably over the length of the war as much as the nation of Chechnya has given, and they brag about how great they are, giving 10 tons of this and that. The point being, we need to remember Mariupol. Those people are still under extreme stress. That city is under the control of Russia and the control of Chechens. He even said, well, you know, in the Russian Federation, we have the safest nation in the world, or in the Russian Federation. I guess you do, because if you get out of line, they'll kill you. But other than that, you know, it's safe. So that's Mariupol. That's Chechnya. What do you think happening in your own nation?
I think if people wants to know what's going on in reality, the real picture, they just think needs to look how it's to be under occupation. Because if I was checking, I decided to check what's going on in Mariupol. So I started to search in YouTube and Google, and then I realized that a lot of the faking picture is like a movie. They're creating, hey, and like this is we do, this is what I think good. Advice: go to Google Map and with the layers to see the ground, and then you will see reality of what. The thousands and thousands and thousands of graves and destroyed houses, destroyed streets. It's still there. This is reality. And plus, people under occupation, they have no choice. And they say it's much worse in Russia. They don't have choice. But in Mariupol, it's much worse. Reality, because it's being under occupation. You will say something wrong, you will be punished the way they do. Sometimes taking kids out of families and sending them out to Russia, and then the parents cannot find them, and so on and so on. So it's like there is a special list of people for humanitarian aid, and if person doing something, for them unpleasant, they're just cutting it out of that list. That's easy. And just think about that until it will be, and please remember the picture, what you've seen in Kherson.
Mm-hmm.
The picture Russia were showing, what was the percentage of elections, the referendum in Kherson? 87% of something like that, of Kherson people were happy to have Russia, but never even half of the crowd they can make. In reality, it was all of it, it was fake. And
of course,
then you see the tears, and reality, nothing comparing. Nothing comparing.
Well,
And
it's kind
even
of.
on the sense,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I want to finish. And even on the central Russian TV channels, they agreed and admitted, yes, we didn't have that kind of picture. Probably all of these people were transported from other areas to make a movie.
Well, think about
No.
this. That's why tonight I knew when we were going to talk about Kherson, I said, you know what? Let's check on Mariupol tonight and update people. Because Kherson has been liberated and you see what the people have lived under. We're seeing the truth. Mariupol is not liberated. It's living under this death and tragedy right now. So we need to remember those people there in Mariupol. Now, a little bit of good news. 73% of mobile communications are reconnected in Ukraine.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, and I think it's they're modifying a little bit the lines, they're modifying the system, and
Mhm.
it will be working much better and more stable because they're preparing for new. All the people, all the structures are preparing for new attacks. So it's good. It's really good.
Good. Kyiv is further preparing. We've talked about the points of invisibility or invincibility throughout Ukraine where people can go and get internet or get a hot cup of tea or something. This is actually a zoom in on the city of Kyiv where people can go to get heat or charge their phone or connect to some internet or connect to a Starlink. There's generators available. So Kyiv is doing a really good job. And, we just need to remind people Kyiv is a very, very, very big city. So there's a lot of infrastructure that has to take place, and a lot of people live there. A lot. So we're very thankful that Kyiv is doing this. In fact, in regard to this type of thing, you and I were discussing last night that as we look toward January, February, because it's still November the 26th, we're still in fall. We haven't even entered winter yet. Winter's not till December the 21st or 22nd, somewhere around that area where it officially begins. You were thinking maybe we need to look for our city and a larger tent, some generators, some heat, and we as an organization could offer a center where people can come, get some heat, get some tea. So I think it's a great idea, and of course we'll support it and we'll make it happen. But we also, and I'm sure we're not the only organization thinking about the winter and what we can do to help people, but that's a great idea. Could put it right there in the center.
I mean, yeah, we yesterday we had a conversation with our administrator, and we're discussing the possibilities and the options and what do we have, what we would need to start that. So it's already on the list, and we think in case of much worse situation, I think we will start something like that together.
Great. And I think when I get there after Christmas, and maybe if we've got that set up, we'll do a live stream from there one night at 4 a.m. and let the world see. It'll be good. Now, have I told you lately that Ukraine is a nation that cares for others? Have I told you that? Yeah. Okay. Well, world, you need to know that Ukraine's a nation that cares for others. On this day, when Ukraine is in the middle, the bullseye of a war zone, having their own infrastructure destroyed, struggling to feed their own people, President Zelensky, there in the middle, he's the one in the middle because he's the short one. I think he and I would see eye to eye. Ukraine donated $150 million. Grain from Ukraine, bravery feeds the planet, with a guarantee to get food supplies to the most needy nations, many of them being in Africa. Ukraine led the way. Belgium was the first outside country to jump in and contribute. This is a Ukrainian initiative, and many nations are now getting behind it. So the point being that we need to share, folks, if you wonder, still, you're trying to figure out somewhere in the world if Ukraine is a Nazi nation or these are fascist or Zelensky's some crazy guy that's a plant and going to be destroyed and he hates Ukraine and all the lies that are out there. No. What else can we show? Ukraine in the middle of the war, spearheading to feed the world. It's great, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Ukraine helps other initiate the programs how to help other countries with the fight against of starving and so on. And at the same time, the Russia, bigger country with a lot of things and money in it, think about the other nation, what kind of threat they can send to them, about nuclear threat, cutting them out of something.
Correct.
Okay, we will cut you. Like for Moldova, oh, we will cut you. Okay, you were buying something, like gas, electricity. Okay, or gas. Okay, we will cut you off.
Some truth being dropped today by example, and the example is even when they're the focal point, and that is they being Ukraine, of receiving aid right now, they're thinking about other nations. So it just validates why Ukraine will win this war. Now, some interesting photos came out today that we need to share. Photos of Bakhmut, war photos. And what is really eerie, very strange, very weird about these photos is they're eerily similar to World War I. So think about 1917, 1918, World War I, and now 2022, 105 years later, potential precursor to World War III, who knows? But right now we have a major war between an invading nation of terrorists and Ukraine. Check this out. On the left, you have World War I photo. On the right, you have the city of Bakhmut. Let me make that bigger,
force.
just so. Let me make it bigger so people can see. So weird how close they are. Look at that.
Yeah. It's artillery fight.
Artillery, exactly. There's another one.
And it was a forest.
Correct. This was a forest. Both of them. Forest gone. Here's another one. Trench warfare, of course, which World War I was very famous for, was trench warfare. Here on the left, you see two guys from World War I. On the right, you see the Bakhmut area. 2022. It's tough. Very, very tough. I'll zoom that one in for everybody to get a good look at. Just very strange similarities between these photos, and they were released today. Now, with that said, what's it really like here with some Ukrainian soldiers? Got a video clip in with a guy who was on break. He had been serving for 5 days, and then he had his rotation out, taking off his boots.
Все, поехали, распаковочка. 25 листопада. Вот так вот мы, ребята, служим. Видите? И представьте, вот этот человек в таком состоянии 5 дней, 5 суток. Вы не представляете, что это и как это. Опс. Даже пакеты не помогают, смотрите. Вот такое все. Вот такая вся хрень, блядь.
I know it's tough for some folks to understand, and fortunately in this stream we have a lot of ex-military guys, veterans, and we're thankful for their work, but I'm sure they have understanding of this. I have understanding of it from a different viewpoint, and that's from hunting, sitting in the woods for a day in some cold, wet conditions, but nothing, of course, with that nature. It's just, as my friend Justin Reynolds would say, it's reality. It's tough.
Yeah, and the reality. So we see the pictures. We're getting the pictures from the Bakhmut area, but reality that all of this part from, I mean, Bakhmut on the south, because of the rains, because of the trenches, because of the same weather conditions, and it's really close. It's really close. Like currently we got the pictures from Bakhmut. So think about the reality is all the way from Bakhmut and down south. It's
and
like
that's the photos I was just overlaying while you were talking, and I know you could see them. These are photos, folks, we're getting out of Bakhmut. It's tough. And I remind you, it's November 26th. Will these areas have snow? Lots of it. Period. Lots of it. Gonna be tough, but we'll be there. Do our best to help. Right here, interesting tonight came out. 67% of Ukrainians have lost property in this war. It could be land, it could be a home, it could be cars, it could be a garage, but 67%. Think about that. 67%, which would be probably about 30 million people out of the normal population. 30 million have lost property. Just facts you don't think about. Yeah, go ahead.
If you see the first position, it says it's money. They've lost money. Because of the different situation, they've lost the money itself. Then it goes like about the technique and the other stuff. But the money, they lost money. Different ways, but it's why? Just imagine that you were living somewhere, then you had to be, relocated without you, against of your will. You just need to do it because they're just to survive. And then you somewhere, and surely you're trying to not just you're trying to find the best way to survive. And the first time it was like people had a hope just for a short period of that situation. This is how I was like saying bye to my wife when she was leaving to other country. I said, okay, don't worry, soon it will be over. And people were doing the same. They were renting apartments. They were renting the houses. They couldn't find, they lost their jobs. They couldn't get this money back. A lot of people couldn't restore their documents and so on. And they had to use money or looking for someone. They play, the money. And until now, a lot of people, who had a big, one man said, hey, my salary in Mariupol was close to like 47,000 hryvnia. He says, right now I'm having 6.
10%, 12, 13% of what he made. Exactly. And these are the ramifications of the war that nobody thinks about. We think about the missiles dropping, having no power, having no heat, but it's much deeper than this. Much, much deeper. These are the visible things we see. And day by day, we learn more and we understand more. Now, I want to close out with a topic tonight that I think could be a game changer in this war. You may or may not agree with it, and that's your prerogative. But I was not even going to share this. Early this morning, I saw in several places the news commentary that the Kremlin was plotting to take out Lukashenko and to get him out of the way and to solidify Russia's control over Belarus. Their dictator's gone. Russia swoops in and takes control. That's the easy way to get Belarus more involved in this war. I ignored those headlines. I completely ignored it. I said, no, we're not going to talk about that tonight because that's just too far out there. In fact, here's one of the sample headlines. It was everywhere. Kremlin plotting to liquidate Lukashenko, seize control of Belarusian army. It's been coming out of the last 24 hours. I said, all right, I'm not sharing stuff like that. I don't believe that. But then, Vladimir Marky, foreign minister for Belarus, died today. Everyone you're reading, intelligence, Ukraine, other nations, are saying this man was poisoned. Now, when I was seeing the headlines, okay, they're going to take Lukashenko out, and I said, okay, maybe, whatever. We'll see if that happens, it happens, but I doubt it. But then later today, we find out that Vladimir Marky most likely was poisoned. Foreign minister for Belarus. He is like a friend, was, of Lukashenko. They had a working relationship, good, but he was not so pro-Russia as Lukashenko, nor pro-Ukraine or pro-war. He's a little different viewpoint. Still Belarusian, still with Lukashenko, but not as deep. Well, he is no more. And man, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I hate him. But this one's interesting. Very.
I think it really depends. So we will see it. Like they will be checking it, and it will depend. What will be official position of Belarus or comment or later about that, and if they will, the question how they will use this one or the next one steps against of Ukraine, because Putin wants to have 100% of Belarusian control.
No question.
I mean finances and army, and he doesn't care about people. He needs army and finances, the sources. So, and I think they will do something for that. It's already obvious that Russia will need to do something. I mean, they will look for the ways to change their situation on the battlefield for better. And so they will need much more. The battlefield from they will open a front. Let's say open the fights on this. They want to from the north side. They're not ready, and maybe there is a limit for accessing having a full access to our Belarusian army. So they doing something. Maybe this modern.
I wasn't even going to mention the Lukashenko thing because it's just too far out there. But man, when a few hours later it comes out that this guy is gone. Of course, that's the title of the program tonight. 276 War in Ukraine. Who is this? His name is Vladimir Marky, foreign minister of Belarus, and it is appearing that he has been taken out. Too strange. They said he was in perfect health. There was nothing wrong. And he's gone. Very interesting.
Okay.
We'll see.
One more.
Yeah.
He was a minister of international relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Foreign minister.
The foreign minister. So it means that soon we will see the other face.
Good point.
And
there'll be a new foreign minister.
Yes, and then we will see the changes of rhetoric, or if it be the same positions, because if the man is a foreign minister, he expresses not just he doesn't do anything like his own way. He expresses the official position of the country, and currently it was Lukashenko position. So the new foreign minister, we will see. And
let me ask you this.
If it be, Yes.
Do you think Putin will have any influence on who that foreign minister will be?
It can be. I just think about that.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I didn't even think that far, but it's just, this is day 276. Everything we ever stream, we ever share is documented. I have every video file, everything. Not online. I mean, backed up on hardware. We'll see. But just remember this day, November the 26th. This is the day that this foreign minister looks like to be eliminated. So
it can be that if it was a first, it could be a threat to Lukashenko.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Like a sign.
That's exactly what they're saying.
And maybe it's like, hey, Lukashenko, think what's going on really close to you.
Help us or you're next. I'm telling you, it's a goofy one, and I wasn't even going to say anything about Lukashenko, but when this guy went out, I said, oh, we may have a story here.
Okay.
Yep.
Or why we talk about Belarus? Because the regular threats from their side, plus we were talking before about S-300. So what territory they're launching S-300? From Belarusian territory, Russian territory, and occupied territory of Ukraine. So from all of these sides, and they cannot launch this from Moscow.
Correct.
They're launching it here. Much more so, I think it's absolutely possible that they will blame Ukraine. And then, okay, you see Ukraine kill our prime minister or other one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, this is why we need to fight, to enter the war or something like that. So let's see.
We'll see. We're watching it, but very interesting and worthy enough that we need to document it tonight. So thank you, my friend. Listen, get you some rest. You've got to take care of your son, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Hope he feels better in the morning when he wakes up.
Yeah, we did pray together, so
Good.
I believe that the everything will be fine.
Good. Well, get some rest. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, my man.
Thank you. Thank you
Hey.
for support, for staying together.
We do. And I wrote it down tonight. No mess ups. A good night to all.
To all, a good night.